structure right here. This is the most difficult thing to talk about. It's actually the thing that we know the less about. So nobody saw the Maya doing this or playing this as a game or performing this as a ritual. We don't really know how this was done. The only thing that we can do is take the rules from the Aztec game, which is when the Spaniards got here in the 1500s, they saw the Aztecs that were just on the rise playing a game, and what the description that we have from that is pretty much one-on-one. Okay, one player here, one player on the other side. They were using a very heavy, non-vulcanized, solid rubber ball, a little bit larger than a softball, weighing about 2.4 kilos or 5 pounds. They were only using elbows, hips, and shoulders to hit it back and forth, and they were trying to pass it through the ring, one of the sides or the other side, depending on which player. This is what we have as a description to the game. And even though the size and the shape of the ball courts are very similar, we have to consider that when the Maya started doing this, to the point the Aztecs started doing their game, it's almost 3,000 years of difference. So it could be very similar or completely different. We only have the description of the one games. Everything is these are always down within the downtown area, right? Always. That means the center of the city. That means the elite class. The rulers, priesthood, mathematicians, scribes, astronomers, the nobility. Not everybody could have access to this area, at least not every day, and that means not everybody could play this game. It was only for the nobility, and according to the Aztecs, was either economic, political, or ritual. Economical, pretty much based on bets. You win, you take from the loser. Political, instead of going over to another city and killing everybody like they used to do, the elite class plays a game and they kind of sort it out. Or the ritual game. The ritual game would be as complex as it sounds, to either recreate the myth of the creation or to continuate the cycles of the sun. The ball itself would represent the sun, and keeping the movement of the ball during the ritual would be like keeping the cycles of the sun, and therefore cycles of agriculture. After the ritual, there would be a sacrifice. Here's when it gets a little bit tricky. According to the Aztecs, it was an honor to be sacrificed to the gods. You would be becoming the flesh of the gods, you would be appeasing the gods as well, ensuring a better life for the future generations. And they don't believe in death. Depending on how they die, they go to the either upper world or underworld and eventually come back to life. So if you really believe that, why not? Even today people die in the name of God, right? So why not back then? The thing is that when you try to apply all of this into the Mayan area, it doesn't fit. Most of the ball courts are different. They have variations, slight variations or big variations, but they're different. Some ball courts don't have rings. They have solid stone markers. And if you were supposed to pass the ball through the ring and you don't have a ring, that's already different. Sometimes they don't have slopes, they have vertical walls. Sometimes they have markers on the ground. The balls that have been found closer to this area, which are in Veracruz, are not 2.4 kilos or the size of a softball. They're larger than a basketball, weighing about 4 kilos or 7 pounds. And you're supposed to get elbows, hips, and shoulders back and forth to pass it then through the ring. This is possible here. Complicated, but possible. Then you go to a place like Chichen Itza. And the ones that have been there won't let me lie. Chichen Itza's ball court is about 7 times longer than this. It's about 6 times wider. You don't have slopes, you have vertical walls, and the rings are 7 meters or 21 feet up in the air. So you're supposed to get, let's not even take a 4 kilo ball, but 2.5 or 5 pounds with elbows, hips, and shoulders across to the other side, which is 150 meters or 450 feet, or then get it 7 meters up in the air. So it starts getting a little bit tricky again, and when you try to apply all of this, it doesn't make sense. In Chichen Itza also you have, on one of the panels, on one of the sides, you have 7 players on each side, which 7 players in Chichen Itza does not look enough. You take 7 players here, it's like too many. You get the one-on-one from the Aztecs here, maybe. Chichen Itza, no way. So all these variations don't really help for us to find how this was done. Now try to imagine if you have variations in this same city. We have 2 ball courts and we'll see the variations. Imagine what happens when you take Guatemala, Mexico, Belize, part of Honduras, and part of El Salvador, which is about 3,400 ball courts. Most of them have variations. You have nothing telling you how this was done. try to figure out the rule for that. It's almost impossible, if not impossible. So what we know is pretty much, again, taken from the Aztecs, trying to apply it here. We know that the nobility or the ruler, the priesthood, would be watching the game from up there, either one of the sides. Let's call it the premium boxes, right? And there was no other spectators. In this specific ball court, we have that staircase right behind you. That could have been used as benches, as well as it could have been used as walkway, for example, the ball court, or for the sacrifices. The sacrifices are depicted on staircases. Now, the thing with the sacrifices, before we move on, the sacrifices, we do not have physical evidence of human sacrifice in the Mayan area in general before 600 AD. Then you see it, start seeing it, and then around the 800 you see it very often, but that is also when there was a drought, and that is also when people from central Mexico came in here. So they could have been brought in. And in this specific city, there's no physical evidence of human sacrifice at all. So even though we have depictions or carvings that could tell us that there was sacrifice, we just don't have any physical evidence, and therefore we cannot say that there was sacrifice in this city or in the Mayan area before 600, right? Just for you to keep in mind. We're gonna go across, right? I'm not really gonna give you much time. Actually, I'm not gonna give you time for you to take pictures here. On the way out, we're gonna go come back just across on the other side. So if you wanna take some pictures on the way out, you can take a couple of minutes, come here.
Be careful before you put your hand in your hand.
Most
I would just
definitely.
drop it and let it run away.